Hey guys, Noli here and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we will check best Tech 3 ships available, and that being said, a lot of times I find premium ships performing better than Tech 3 ships, of course, but that doesn't mean that you cannot find good Tech 3 ships in which you can perform really well and almost on the same level as premium ships. So to check first tier 1, of course there is a Black Swan, fast fire rate, overall good package, and you can perform really well in Black Swan in tier 1. Tier 2, Samson, so it's a US destroyer. I find it performing excellent in tier 2, and I find it one of best Tech 3 or overall ships in its tier. So it has four double torpedo tubes per each side, so that means that you can shoot 4 torpedoes on each side, and they have only 25-26 seconds reload rate. So that means that you can shoot torpedoes from one side, turn the ship on another side and shoot 4 torpedoes on another side, and that should be enough to take most of destroyers and enemy cruisers on tier 2 with single shots or 4 shots of torpedoes in this tier. So it is super fun to play and super easy, and gives you great basics to learn how to use destroyers in this game. Tier 3, it is Friant, so it is a French cruiser. It has 8 guns in 4 turrets, it has good AP and HE, and it also has 4 torpedoes per side. So it can really give you good basics how to play cruisers and help you down the line in playing Battleship, because it will teach you how to avoid getting hits and taking damage, and still inflicting damage to the enemy. So you can then learn how to use AP, learn how to use HE, and also how to use torpedoes. And it's also great in taking other cruisers down, and destroyers that are on tier 3 also biggest threat at the moment that you have. Tier 4, and here I would introduce first Battleship, and that's Orion. So it is a British battleship, and what is great about it, it has really powerful HE shells and also 10 guns. So that means that you can one-shot a DD that is coming close, and that is the biggest threat that you have on tier 4. So I would just suggest using HE, sticking with HE. You can clear destroyers very easily that are coming close, and that will happen a lot. You can clear other cruisers very effectively, and you can also shoot on other battleships very effectively. If they come closer, then you can switch to AP if there are no destroyers close by. So I find this ship performing excellent for tier 4, and it will give you great basis in learning how to use battleships down the line. As alternative for cruisers, I would definitely suggest Svetlana. So it's a great ship, also has great guns and great torpedoes, so you can really continue learning how to use the cruisers, focus on on destroyers and other cruisers, and then also use HE on battleships and torpedoes if you can come closer. So in my opinion, on tier 4, Orion and Svetlana are definite choices to choose on tier 4, and they can perform excellent. Tier 5, that would definitely be Königsberg, so one of my favorite cruisers in the game. I find it performing excellent, great AP guns, good HE, good torpedoes, and the best thing about this ship is that the back turrets can rotate 360, so that means that you can very easily switch from left to right side, and on the right side, since the turrets are off axis, you can really shoot very close with showing your broadside. So it will give you excellent basis on how to use cruisers. It can go really good against destroyers, other cruisers, use HE and torpedoes if you can get close safe to other battleships. Other option is Kuro. I also find it very good ship, so it has really powerful 180mm guns, so it's best used long range. It has very precise guns, and it can really hit destroyers and other cruisers on long range very well, and it can also go with AP against other battleships. So I find it also very fun ship, and it will learn you, or it will teach you how to use heavy cruisers, especially heavy Russian cruisers down the line. Also, the ship that I would suggest, the battleship that I would suggest on using is Iron Duke as a British battleship, because again it has great HE, it has really precise guns. I like it a lot. I sold it because I'm using mostly Julius Caesare, and on tier 5 you have quite a few good premium battleships, but nonetheless this ship can perform really well. You can clear destroyers with HE, you can use also HE on cruisers or and other battleships, or if these battleships are coming closer, then you can switch to AP and you can have really good performance with really good guns. So definitely Iron Duke would be my suggestion as a battleship to use on tier 5 Tech 3 battleship. Tier 6, and on tier 6 I would definitely suggest to try Fushun. It's a Pan-Asia destroyer, so it has deep water torpedoes. That means that you cannot hit other destroyers with these torpedoes, but you have really devastating alpha attack against other cruisers and battleships. So it's really overpowered in tier 6. And also, if we are thinking about battleships and cruisers that you could play on tier 6, I would definitely suggest again British battleship Queen Elizabeth. So again, that's the closest thing that you can get to Warspite. Warspite is they're the same class of the ships. Warspite is the best battleship on tier 6 that you can get, and this is the closest thing that you can get to Warspite. So it has really good guns, good dispersion. You can use AP against cruisers and other battleships and get a lot of citadels, and you can also switch to HE against destroyers. So in my opinion, this is really good Tech 3 battleship that you can use. Then for cruisers, I would definitely suggest to use French cruiser La Garçonnière. So it is the closest thing that you can get to De Gras, and in my opinion De Gras is excellent cruiser or premium cruiser on tier 6. But for Tech 3 I would definitely suggest these French cruisers. It has really good guns. You can really have a devastating attack against other destroyers and cruisers with AP shells. You can light battleships on fire with HE without any problem, and you have really good torpedoes, and also maneuverability is really nice. So this is definitely my choice for tier 6 Tech 3 cruiser that you can perform really well. Also regarding CVs, I would definitely suggest Independence. It is close to Rujo, but Independence for me has a little bit more advantage, at least on tier 6. And on tier 6 CVs are getting fighters, so you can really start to learn the ropes, how to use CV together with fighters and everything else. So in my opinion, this is a little bit better CV on tier 6. On tier 7, I would, as destroyer, definitely suggest Gajah Mada. I'm not sure you pronounce it like that or not. Quite a good destroyer, maneuverable enough so you can dodge enemy torpedoes from planes, from cities. It has good guns, it has quite good smoke, and it has excellent deep water torpedoes. So that means that you can go against enemy cruisers and battleship with very devastating attacks. Only thing you need to be careful is enemy destroyers, because you cannot hit them with your torpedoes and they can hit you. But nonetheless, quite a good destroyer on tier 7. For the cruisers, I would definitely suggest Shorsh. So this is one of my favorite cruisers in the game. Excellent ship, really phenomenal. I hugely like the guns. So I think they're performing on level of tier 8. AP can be devastating against enemy cruisers and destroyers, and HE can light everything on fire, battleships and cruisers without any problem. The weak spots are, it is soft, so if you get focused and hit, you will lose HP very fast, and it has weaker AA defense. So that means that you want to stay on long range and snipe everything as behind, let's say behind or close to islands or your friendly battleships for protection. For the Battleship on tier 7, situation is a bit more difficult because I find them underperforming a little bit in comparison to premium ships. So West Virginia and Nelson can do really well. If you are thinking about Tech 3 battleships, I would definitely suggest Colorado. So it is the closest thing to West Virginia. It can perform okay, but a little bit underwhelming in comparison to West Virginia. Or you can also think about Japanese Nagato. So it has relatively good guns, but it is a bit softer. So you also have to be careful not to get focused in early stages of the battle. For the CV, I would definitely also suggest Japanese CV. So that means Hiryu. I have sold it because there is a lot of premium CVs like Seipan, Kaga or Ark Royal. But nonetheless, Hiryu can perform quite well, especially if you master torpedo bombers and learn how to go or hunt enemy destroyers. Hiryu can perform quite well. It also has a decent fighter group, and also bombers are okayish, but definitely torpedo bombers are the main strength of a Japanese carrier line. So nonetheless, Hiryu can perform quite well on tier 7. Tier 8 and situation here is relatively clear. So I would say the best tier 8 Tech 3 destroyer that you can get is Benson, definitely. And Benson is one of the best destroyers all around, even I would say. So it is really, the entire package is really good. So it has really good guns, it has good smoke, it has good torpedoes, and it is maneuverable enough to dodge enemy planes with torpedoes that are becoming on tier 8 quite a threat, because they are so enemy CVs start hunting DDs, and then if you get focused and hunted with torpedo bombers, you can have big problems. So you want destroyer to be maneuverable enough to dodge torpedoes from enemy planes. So definitely suggestion, really excellent ship. Then for cruisers, I would definitely suggest between Cleveland and Charles Martel. So I hugely like Charles Martel. I think that the entire package is really well rounded and can perform really good. It can perform as a standalone ship, and it can also perform as a support ship to your battleship group. So it has good AP, good HE, it's maneuverable enough, fast enough, it has rapid reload, and it has good torpedoes. So the entire package can perform really well, and I'm doing really nice in this ship. The other ship that is also excellent is Cleveland, of course. So a ship with great AA on tier 8, but I find best performing as a support ship for your battleship group because it has relatively slow shells, and that means hitting destroyers on long range can be a challenge. And so if you stay close to your battleships, to give them AA protection, and then try to use HE, because I find that performing the best, using HE, and try to light on fire enemy cruisers, enemy battleships especially, and then if some enemy destroyers come closer, then you can start firing on him and just keep him on distance, not to come too close to your battleship group. This is how I found Cleveland performing the best. Also, it can, since it has high arcs of shells, you can also hide behind the island and shoot over the island and be protected behind the island or enemy or your friendly battleship. For battleship, I would definitely suggest North Carolina. She's great. I have sold her because I have Alabama and they are very close in performance, but nonetheless this ship is excellent. So it is good again all arounder. So it has good guns with excellent range, decent dispersion. It has very good AA, so you can protect yourself against enemy planes. And then you can snipe relatively good, and in the second part of the battle, if you manage to close the distance, you can also relatively nicely brawl in her because it has really good secondary battery. So definite suggestion. In comparison, for example, to Richelieu or Roma, it has its advantages and it can be played quite good on a tier 8. And for the CV, I would definitely suggest Shokaku as a great ship, not lacking at all behind the Enterprise. as a premium ship, but and Shokaku is really excellent. It has great torpedo bombers, decent fighter squadrons, okay-ish bombers, and I have seen it perform extremely good in the hands of people that know how to do it, and especially in hunting destroyers with 2 torpedo bombers group. So definite suggestion as an excellent carrier on tier 8. Tier 9, and here the problem is that a lot of times you will go against tier 10, and that can make your life quite difficult on tier 9, and usually it's just done to grind the line and proceed to tier 10. Ships that I find performing quite okay on tier 9 is Iowa. I think that's overall one of the best tech 3 ships that you can have on tier 9, because it has the all-around package is quite good. So you have decent guns, they are very similar to Montana's guns, but only 1/3 is less. Then it has good armor, it's maneuverable enough, it has good secondary battery, and it also has really good AA defense. The entire package works quite okay, and it's very similar to Missouri, that I really enjoyed playing on tier 9 as a premium. Then for destroyers I would definitely suggest Fletcher is quite okay, good smoke, good torpedoes, good guns, overall package is relatively nice, and you can you're maneuverable enough to dodge enemy CVs and torpedoes that they are again on tier 10 can be very difficult for destroyers. For cruisers, also for destroyers, I would definitely suggest to try German destroyer Z46. So it is excellent destroyer hunter. So it has amazing guns, AP shells especially, and you can really hunt enemy destroyers in this relatively effectively and easily and fun. For cruisers, I didn't play too much cruisers. I somehow skipped a lot of them with free XP. What I have heard that Seattle is relatively okay on tier 9 from people who played her, so that would be maybe a suggestion as a relatively effective ship. And for carrier, I would definitely suggest Teiho. Again, it is Japanese carrier, great torpedo bombers, and the main function that it can perform quite well is hunting and spotting enemy destroyers, and it can perform really well, and without problem also compete with tier 10 ships. That being said, try to avoid American cruisers like Worcester or Des Moines, because they have simply very strong AA defense. And end of the lines are tier 10 ships. For destroyers, I find Gearing performing really well. It is good all-around ship. It has decent torpedoes, decent guns, a good smoke, so 3 level 2 smokes, and it's maneuverable enough that you can dodge enemy planes with torpedoes, so torpedoes from enemy planes, and that makes huge difference because CVs on tier 10 can be really difficult to play against. So this is what I like hugely on Gearing. The second destroyer that I can also suggest is Z52. So it is great enemy destroyer hunter. It has really good AP guns, also 2 turrets on front, and it really excels in hunting enemy destroyers. Only thing is it's not maneuverable as Gearing, so you have to be very careful against that enemy CV with torpedoes are not targeting you. I find these 2 ships performing a bit easier than Shimekaze. So Shimekaze is great if you can close range and if CV is not targeting you and the cruisers is not targeting, and then you can use all 15 torpedoes. But if CV is on top of you, if cruisers are on top of you, and then or for example Z52 or other destroyers, then you will have big problems closing the distance and using these 15 torpedoes effectively, and this is why I choose Gearing and Z52 as better ships than Shimekazes. For cruisers, I definitely would suggest one of my favorite cruisers is Worcester. So it is great support ship. Playing style is very similar to Cleveland. Use HE shells, has a very slow arc, so it will make hitting destroyers on long range relatively difficult. It can light fires very good, and I use it as a support ship to my battleship group. So that means staying close to battleship, give them AA protection. It has great AA defense. Try lighting fire on enemy battleships and cruisers, and if enemy destroyers come closer, then you can start shooting on them, but you have to take a lot of lead in front of them, not in order to hit them, and not that shells are falling behind them in the water. Also, the other ship that cruiser that I really like on tier 10 is Moskva. So it is almost like a small battleship, slow turret traverser, but great guns. AP will overpen destroyers, so use HE on destroyers, and you can even hit destroyers if they are spotted on 10, 11, 12 kilometers, because it has super precise guns and great dispersion. So I hugely like playing her, and she has also the highest HP pool of all tier 10 cruisers. But you have to be very careful about the positioning, because she's very slow in turning and rotating guns. Then for CV, I would definitely suggest Hakuryu, great CV on tier 10, as Japanese are great on tier 8, 7, 8, 9 and 10. So it has great torpedo bombers group, and this is something that should be the prime function, is to hunt enemy destroyers and spot them, and then if you can hit them with torpedoes, you can make a lot of damage to them. And I have seen guys who can perform really excellent in this ship. And the last is Republic, and this is my favorite ship. I mean, as you can see here, it has a chicken on ship. It's simply amazing, this golden chicken. I hugely like it. Yeah, so excellent. So what I like usually in the Republic is not just the guns and rapid reload and this chicken, but I also hugely like agility and maneuverability. And I think that's hugely important in tier 10, to be able to dodge torpedoes from shimikazes. Like these attacks can be very devastating, and if you can stop or turn or bait torpedoes, that make all the difference in tier 10. It has also great dispersion, and it has also great secondary battery, and with rapid reload you can really squeeze 3 salvos in 20 seconds, and if enemy cruisers is showing you broadside, you can take them down without any problem and make huge damage on enemy battleships. The only weaker point of her is that she's relatively soft, so you have to be careful not to show her broadside or take a lot of damage from multiple enemy battleships. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay guys, so I hope that you like this overview of best Tech 3 ships in my opinion. If you liked it, please hit a like and subscribe button on video, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks guys, and see you. Bye!